Fujifilm did it, and today released the Fujifilm XH2s, 40 frames per second, 4K 120, and an amazing EVF, also flip out screen. It's the new successor of the Fujifilm XH1. So let's talk a little bit about it. Welcome to the channel, and thank you so much for being here. Welcome to this world of mine, when I'm telling you about all the cameras and the things that I'm using, things that I'm enjoying with my photography, and hopefully help you a little bit. So today we're talking about the new release of the Fujifilm XH2s, like I said, and we've talked about it in the past. It's the first camera that Fujifilm will come up with this year. It's gonna be another one, the XH2, but until then, let's talk about what we have. And there are a lot of things to talk about. I'm just gonna highlight the points that, in my opinion, are interesting to basically debate and talk about on this channel. And because I don't have the camera, this is not the XH2s, I am gonna talk about, not as a comparison to the XH1, but to exactly what this camera is and means, and what this camera brings to the market for those of you who are interested in buying a new Fujifilm. First and foremost, the design. Well, there are a few things that I am, let's say, not happy about, and if you see me a little bit pouty, it's because I was expecting different from Fujifilm. Apparently, the new path of these cameras are going more towards, let's say, mainstream and create just beautiful insides and not necessarily outside. At least for this camera, that is very true. There are a lot of knobs missing, there are a lot of buttons missing, and also we don't have the focus mode switch anymore, and I think this is a trend. This switch right here that we all learn to love, because you can easily change it on the go, it's gone. Instead of it, we have buttons, more buttons, they're customizable, but I believe that this is again a loss. Well, besides that, the camera looks and feels like the XH1, at least from what I've saw, and I believe that that is a great thing. Big grip, very grippy and very nice to hold in hand, and packed of features. And let's get to the features. First, the EVF. It's a 5.76 million dots EVF. That is pretty much a real life on an LCD, so you will be able to basically see everything in a high resolution and let's say comparable to an OVF, and also has a refresh rate up to 120 frames per second. So everything that moves fast in front of you is gonna be captured, and you'll be able to track it with your eye through the EVF with no problems. That is amazing. I think the EVF is super important, and we've talked about it a lot on this channel. I think that this addition of a high resolution EVF is great. The camera can shoot up to 40 frames per second in electronic shutter, and up to 1,000 images continuously without blackout, and those images are gonna be JPEGs, obviously, but it's still gonna be able to shoot a lot of RAWs. I think 100 RAWs or along that way, and that is amazing. This is already, let's say, marketed towards photographers or videographers who are shooting sports and fast action, and that is amazing. The camera also provides 2 card slots. One is a CF Express B, and the other one an HS2 card, and the CF Express B is used mostly for let's say video, because this camera packs a huge bunch of video features that will definitely entertain a lot of videographers who probably switched already to Sony or Canon because of their features. Well, Fujifilm is catching up, and I'm gonna tell you more a little bit later. The camera also packs a new autofocus system with great tracking for animals, birds, for trains and airplanes and motorcycles and humans and all kinds of stuff that apparently will work well. We have to test that to make sure that everything works. And all this is packed in a new backside illuminated stacked sensor, CMOS sensor called X-Trans 5HS, and that is amazing. This sensor is capable of capturing all this craziness, all these frames per second, and the new processor inside also provides the capability of, let's say, not slowing down the camera when it comes to speed. And if you don't know, the XH2s, the S comes from speed, and it packs a lot of speed in. Now that is in terms of photography. Maybe there are other features that we'll be interested in. They didn't mention anything about new film simulations, so I believe that the XT4 and the XE4 and the new cameras released last year, we're gonna give this new camera the same film simulation, and I'm not sure if they're coming up with something new next, but at least we have all of them from the past. Also, this is a video-centric camera, like everyone says, and I don't know if that's really true, but it is very, very well packed in terms of video features. It shoots 6K video at up to 30 frames per second, and also 4K videos up to 120 frames per second, and also shoots 10-bit 4:2 inside the camera, and that's when the CF Express B comes into play. You have to have that to be able to shoot Apple ProRes, which is capable of, and 10-bit 4:2 and all that stuff. You have to have that CF Express B card inside, otherwise you won't be able to. Also 4K 120 and 6K, and also the camera will provide a new F-Log, the F-Log 2, that has 14 stops of dynamic range. That is great. Again, I can't test that because I don't have the camera. Fujifilm doesn't consider us a big channel to send us a pre-production. Maybe soon, if you guys subscribe to the channel and give these videos thumbs ups, and if we get a lot of likes and a lot of views, we'll probably make them send us next time the camera and talk about it with the camera in hand. But until then, I can only tell you the specs, the technicalities. If you want to watch a technical review, I can definitely point you towards Gerald Andan's channel, who is doing an amazing job of telling you all the technicalities in terms of video features and how the camera packs and all the tests possible for dynamic range and everything else. Gerald is amazing when it comes to explaining stuff, though a little bit geeky and a little bit technical. You will definitely get more out of those videos than I can tell you in terms of technicalities. You know me, I like the cameras, and I love what they provide in terms of user experience and not necessarily of technicalities, but because I don't have it, I had to do this today. So this is with the sensor, which again is a stacked backside illuminated sensor that will provide amazing quality for low light situations. For all of you who are shooting events or in low light, that's the sensor that we all wanted, and I believe it's gonna be, and it's gonna retain the same colors that the X-Trans sensors are known for. And on top of that, this sensor is 5-axis image stabilized, and that is awesome, especially for an APS-C sensor. When when you're raising the ISO a little bit, things are gonna change and you're gonna get a little bit more noise or grain in your photos. Well, being stabilized means that you can lower that shutter speed all the way down and be able to handhold the camera to 1/50th, maybe tenths of a second, maybe lower than that if you drink less coffee than I do, and that is great. So image stabilized, backside illuminated stacked sensor, 26 megapixels, same sensor basically in terms of megapixel like the X-T3 and the X-T4 and the X-E4 and the X Pro 3 and all the latest cameras Fujifilm released. And this is the smaller camera in terms of megapixels. The new one, the XH2, is gonna come up I don't know, probably in the fall, with a bigger sensor around 40 megapixels. Other things that I put down, the IBIOS is gonna be rated to 7 stops, so 7 stops of image stabilization. It's not bad, it's actually pretty good. Also, the camera is gonna come with 2 different grips, one for basically endurance, and have the batteries and probably knobs and dials that will help you with the performance of the camera, and one of them will gonna have all of that, I believe, and a Ethernet connection for file transfer, fast file transfer for pro photographers shooting on the field, that they need to transfer files fast to their agencies or back to a server, and that is professional. And I think that what I said when this video started is that Fujifilm is going toward mainstream in terms of design. Well, I think they're going after pros, and that's not bad at all. Knowing that an APS-C sensor can provide pretty much the same as my full frame sensor in front of me, and even better, I think it's a great thing, and kudos to Fujifilm for doing that. Now, if you don't see much of an excitement, and if you see me a little bit, like I said, pouty, is because I don't really like this path that Fujifilm is taking to remove all these beautiful vintage dials and everything on their cameras and go back to basically a camera just like the one that is filming me right now, with just the necessary dials and buttons, the ones that you need, but nothing fancy, nothing vintage, nothing good looking, more like usability against look. And I think it's their path. I think they're gonna do well, but for me it's not amazing, and I'm a little bit torn. And no, I'm not gonna buy this camera. I don't need it. I already have something that films me and gives me the capabilities that I need in terms of video, and I do have cameras that I use for my work that are pretty good for what I'm doing. I'm not shooting sports, I'm not shooting fast action. I will probably try soon some wildlife with the Fujifilm cameras and stay focused for that. We also have a lot of products that were been sending to me by different companies to talk about, and that will come up in the next weeks or so. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm not sure if this was what you're expecting from me in terms of let's say previewing this XH2s, but that's all I could come up with without having a camera with me. I didn't want to keep you long, though I think the video is long enough. So don't forget to stay focused, my friends, and if you didn't like my voice, it's because I came up with you know what. Be safe, and I will definitely see you in a bit.